Happy Friday, Scrap Masters. Welcome to Sew Well with yours truly, Rob Appell, and we are on week 18 of our Scrap Masters random quilt block series. I am having so much fun. I am so glad to see all of you out there. Are you ready to find out what we are going to make today via a random roll and spin? I certainly am. Let's do this, folks. You ready? Let's get started. And that is right. Welcome back to Sew Well. I am Rob Appell, and I am super excited to see all of you out there. And yeah, maybe even more excited than I should be. We've been kind of talking about this a little bit the last couple weeks, but yes, folks, I am doing it independent style, still supporting Stitch in Heaven and a lot of the other brands out there. But this is the home of my video content. And yeah, we get to call it Sew Well with Rob Appell. Thanks again. I'm super excited about this. And we're doing Scrap Masters here. I have a couple of playlists going for the Series 1 Scrap Masters, which features this quilt behind me, 35 weeks of random sewing and generating our blocks with our dice and our spinner. And now we're on Series 2, which you see on this wall here. If you didn't catch last week, I pulled one of these blocks here, I believe it was, and then that started to show me what I can do down the road and what's going to happen possibly now that I've got a couple of those blocks that are working really cool together. Series 2 is available in the link in the description below. As you can see right here, we have 6 blocks that we are going to choose one of them today. And the really cool thing, if you are loving this, of course, the blocks from Series 1 and 2 can be used together for extra fun, and we might be doing that again real soon. I've got some ideas coming up with March around the corner, National Quilting and Sewing Month. I'm super excited about that. And like I said, I'm super excited to be here, and I'll talk forever, as you know, if you let me. So let's spin and roll our way to some sewing, and we'll chat as we build this block together. Here we go. Which block is it today? Block 6. I feel like we've had a lot of 6, but I didn't, as the disclaimer, say no block 6 this week. So even though the rules clearly state, if you haven't seen this before, there are no rules. And I'm sorry, I am going kind of fast. If you are new here, please consider chatting along with us in the comments. It's super fun. I'd love to welcome you all here. So let me know if this is the first time you're seeing the video or where you're at in the Scrap Masters series. So yes, there are no rules, but I'm going to stick to block 6 today. Let's get a color we love. Really aren't any bad colors, are there? Oh, red-orange. Okay, we've got a red-orange in a block 6 medium number of fabrics. The 20-sided die will tell us how many different fabrics we can pick from the golden box there. Let's see what we've got. 10. I'm liking that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to use red-orange for our, and I'm also been integrating my newest fabrics. They just started to hit the air, the quilt shops out there. So check your local quilt shop for what is called Groundworks by Rob Appell. It's kind of the 4th edition of the newer and newest World Series, which were my tone-on tones. And now you can see here, these are my color on neutrals or low volume neutrals. But even me, I can't be low volume about it. So as we look up here in the background, I'm going with my red orange, which means I'm going to pick this fabric right here today as fabric number 1. I want this kind of wild checkered star to kind of show up down the road. So using my other 9 fabrics, I'm going to pull, this is usually what I kind of filter in as this light color, this background color. So let's see, what shall we do today with 9 more to choose from? All right, and I'm going to refer to my color wheel also. And by doing that, I'm going to set the primary color here. I know that that could be a little confusing because it's not a primary color, but what we're using today is this red-orange. And I'm going to see that my green-yellow, my blue-yellow, any of these colors around here are going to work pretty neat. Or up in here, the tetrad, which would give me these 5 colors. That might be a fun one to play with. What if I did these three fabrics. There are three in here. That's four. Maybe that's too many. I feel like that's going to really busy it up if I get into these. Well, okay, just keep going with where I was going though. See if I can push it to get. So I like this to go together actually as a color combo. Sans, the one I designed myself. However, the problem with this is going to be, what do I choose as the medium or what do I choose as the dark? Because none of these are all from the same color family. So really what I want to do again, because this is such a strong design, such a strong pattern, is I think what I'll do today is maybe just use three colors. Omit the blue, right? So we'll put this back in over here. And this now gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fabrics to choose from. Oh, 8 fabrics to choose from. So let's just pull in. Change of plans again. And this is the way sometimes the design juices flow or don't. Again, here we go, folks. This is what I'm dreaming of. What I'm struggling with, right, is if I use this, I'll use this as my medium. I'm going to split the block today. We're going to go crazy. We are going to do it. I'm going to split the block today. These two are both my now darks as seen. So I'll put the green darks here, here. This is my medium, and I'll use these as all of my lights together. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in a lighter yellow. That was too much, right? That was too close here. There we go. So now we are ready to start counting out unit parts and pieces. And if it's your first time in the show, let me also recommend, I built the pattern originally using these units. As you can see, every block has different units built into them. But as you're going to watch me build, as you've seen from week after week, if you aren't new to the show, I find it's better to actually choose how many different combinations of colors for our half square triangles, then cut our squares, and then I could mix and match them right on the table. Instead of looking at individual units, I get a more random looking block, more balance of my parts and pieces scrappy, because we are scrap masters, if I don't focus on individual units, but on the whole layout. So let's do that way again today. Follow along. We're going to look just right here now at block number 6. And as I said, I have to be a little bit more organized. So I'm just going to start with this fabric here. And this is, remember, our medium. So I'm going to have 4 half square triangles, 1 for each corner. I'm going to get 2 from each of my 3-inch squares. So let's now go ahead and integrate 1 of each of these yellows. That takes care of those. Now I have 2 more in here, so I need 1 more. So let's go ahead and grab this other piece. And those are set now nicely for the half square triangles. For the other mediums, I'm only going to need 4 of these. So I'm just going to set these aside now, and I'm going to line up the corners so I can cut them down. Okay, we'll need those cut down. Set that back aside. Now when I look across here, half square triangles with these lights and these darks are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's just go 1, 2, and I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to mix and match again, one of each of my lights with these darks. And then I will also need 2 squares. So I'm going to pull out 2 more of these squares, line them up. And if all goes well, I'll need 1, 2 over there. So let's grab one of each of these squares. We will line those up for trimming down. And then same thing on this side if I know it well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, oh, and don't forget 7 and 8 in there. So I am actually going to need to make 1 more of each side because this odd number thing is going to play a little bit of a trick on our eye. So this will be fun here. Just follow along. We're going to get a couple of extras left over. Not a problem. So then again, because I need 4 this way, and because I want these brights and these yellows to kind of be popping through, and this is the fun. Remember, the color was red-orange, but I just set myself in motion that way. And now you can see I've changed up the palette considerably, but that's okay because we're not building a quilt yet. We're only building blocks. The quilt will build itself once we've done 35 weeks of these blocks together. Last thing we need to do, those will be half square triangles. Let's count out how many of the actual light squares we need, which will now be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I see any more anywhere? Nope. So again, I'm just going to grab 3 of each of these, 2 more of this print, move all of this extra out of the way for now so that I don't get it confused into the stash. And I think we are ready to start our construction now. So before I get carried away, let's just take these squares. And like I said, I'm going to line them up. 1, 2, 3. Pretty confident in my work. So I'm going to take these extra 2 and make 5 there. Then I just take rotary cutter and a ruler, and I'm going to find a 2.5, 2.5 marking there so that I'm taking these 3s down to 2.5-inch squares. Everything finishes up at a 2.5-inch square this way. And just to note, of course, you could be working from whatever sizes you have. That would be wise. But if you have been following along for a while and you like kind of doing it quickly and you've learned that the faster you work, the more artful and maybe creative you feel, I do personally, then you may have wanted to already pre-trim your parts and pieces like I've done now to the 3-inch sizes, because with the 3-inch sizes, it cuts down really quick. Makes it really easy to work. Also, part of what we're doing here now, folks, like I said, is kind of rebranding or independently branding Rob Appell so well and all the fun we get to have together. I will still be doing the retreats, the cruise in August for Stitch in Heaven, and hopefully some new videos coming up very soon. Like I said, we've got a couple of things we're discussing right now. But I also have finished up that Toyota Sequoia. I'm so excited about it. Locking full slide 4-foot drawer. Holds itself up. That's just the beginning, folks. Then we've got the beautiful table that extends to fit. Hidden power supply to run the refrigerator, the sewing machine, and camera gear. Bins for whatever, currently surfing. Full kitchenette. Sink, tools, stove. And my new, very most favorite part, the electric water pump. That is not only mobile, extendable, but single button, auto run. How amazing is that? Surf gear slides over to where I would be sleeping, and notice we've got a new awesome carpeted compartment with cool lift hinges. And this is the water system back in here, 7 gallons on board, and an air compressor, which also runs up here, the shower system. Of course, we've got firewood, propane, and all of that for the awesome Toyota sewing sequoia. I cannot wait to get out on the road and do more workshops and classes. I absolutely love presenting my live quilts. I've got about 35 quilts. I tell stories about my life, my trunk show, my alcohol recovery, which again is part of this month, February, 14 years. Celebrate with me. I apologize. I know you're all waiting for my video where I talk about what's been going on this year. And I'll tell you, I've just been really a little bit overwhelmed personally and a little bit busy personally with everything that's going on with getting this channel ready for us to continue Scrap Masters here and a bunch of other wonderful tutorials. Those tutorials, like I said, I want to do them from the road, out of the car. I think it'll be awesome, as well as the kind of content I've been producing for years here. So there's a lot of exciting and fun things around the corner. As I'm just watching this corner to corner eyeball run across that seam marking tape on my machine here, that's how I'm just kind of freestyling these half square triangles down. And I'll go ahead and sew through all of these squares on one side, and then I will cut them apart and sew down the other side here before trimming any of them down. I've also really found that my tattooing career has started to take off, and so I want to have more time to spend creating custom tattoos, especially sewing and quilting and geometric design related tattoos. I think that's incredible. I am spending more time when I travel places and offering tattoos, and that's part of this desire to be able to be flexible with my time schedule and be in places a little bit longer than I was able to do in the past. So with all of that said, yes, coming up very soon, I'll be in Fallbrook, California, first week of March. And I have the Friday available, and I wasn't paying attention, so I've got 2 slots for tattoos still open. If anybody is interested, of course, anytime you're interested in a tattoo, you can reach out rob@robappell.com. And of course, I'll get back to you and we can talk about what your hopes and dreams are in that realm. I'm also heading up into Oregon mid-March, get to do some workshops up there and have a few folks scheduled, but I am on a free roll on that one because I have a desire, as I've been threatening, to do something with barn quilts. I can't say too much. Don't want everyone stealing all of my amazing ideas out there. But yes, I would like to spend some time tracking down some barn quilts. And so along the time I have out there with my new camper, I'll also be able to take some extra time tattooing and things. So again, if you're interested, it's part of what I love to do. I know it's not for everybody. Don't forget, folks, it is just another needle art, and I am a needle artist by trade and by heart, by passion, by all of it. And I'm so glad you're here with me today. All right, let's get these things finished up so we can really build our square. Let me sew through these. I'll be back in a second. My favorite way of making these half square triangles in a hurry is use a straight edge to separate along that diagonal. You may have drawn a line there first. I just eyeballed it. And then I'm going to use my slotted trimmer tool, laying my dotted line just north of the thread there of the 2.5, 2.5. And I just cut both edges, and then again, kind of eyeball my dog ear because I find that that's fastest and easiest with this heavy weighted cutter I love so much. So again, I'm just going to kind of line myself up, trim it down. Oh, looks like I was going so fast, I didn't even make that. Here, save up the shreds for our dog bed projects. So as we clean up here, last thing is I have already started pressing to the darker of the fabrics today. So here are these. Again, I'll go to the dark side. Okay. And I accidentally, you can see wrong sides, but that's okay because I think I'll just use that because I'll only use one of those maybe. I think I needed one of those today. So now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to find the center of our pattern today, block number 6. And I'm going to take 2 of the dark lights. But remember, I'm going to make kind of my purple side, my burgundy side over here, and my green side over here. So I want these fabrics to also be different in the middle. My lights there. And then I will have two mediums coming in. And that's cool because those yellows are actually different there, so that works neat. And now I'm just going to focus on building out this side. So of the dark squares here, I'll take one here, and one will be over here. I'll need a medium square in here. A couple different light squares out here, and then one of my light medium half square triangles with the actual medium pointing away. So again, different yellows here. I like that a lot. Oops, this shifts down, excuse me. Whoa, this is a brain tease right now, I'll tell you. Just trying to stay on this one side. My goodness, it's racking me. That's all right, I'm having fun though. So then I'll need two more of these. Okay, I think I have what will be that half of the block there. So then this one's all built off of the green families. Oh, it's a brain tease. Did I already say that? It's a brain tease? Definitely a brain tease. This is good for our heads though, to get this kind of design going, I think. Okay, we've got it, folks. Wow, like I said, that was a real brain tease. Let's do some double checking. Make sure our mediums all have the half square triangles pointing out. It is an interesting block, but I think we can read it okay. Everything lines up as it should. So now, like I said, we'd have a couple extras, add those to the pile for down the road. Like I was saying before, because I wasn't designing in those individual elements, it gave me the opportunity to really mix and match the pieces here on the table to really balance out where the different background yellows go, for example. So because of that, now I'm just going to sew this and construct it into rows. So first thing we need to do is get some sort of marking so you have a nice consistent 1/4 inch. I lay out my edge guide on my black tape, and now I'm just going to go piece by piece, always putting the next piece on top of the last piece, or number 2 on top of 1, because I'm going to sew so that the weight goes away from my machine, weight away from my feed dogs. I will iron after each row, not after each seam this time. Later, we'll get back into after each seam. So now that I've completed the row, like I said, I will start pressing and keeping track so that later on, I'm actually pressing to nesting these little squares in the rows as I build them back in. So right now, just remember this first row, all press that way. Build your next row. With the same formula as before, just adding on your pieces. But now here's the trick, because this is the second row, it's going to normally fit in here, so that's my visual check, but I'm going to rotate it at the wool mat, and then I'm just going to go ahead and slide it just like before. Rotate it again, and double check your orientation to make sure everything's reading along with the pattern. So this is real simple to do it this way. And it gives you the best visual opportunity to play with your balance of your different fabrics and your different colors, right? And how cool is that? Speaking of playing, I'd like to know from you out there today in the comments, are any of you doing any retreats or upcoming events that you're excited about? I know many of you were at QuiltCon recently. Hopefully several of you saw some of the tattoos that I had done running around at QuiltCon. They found each other. They didn't, to my knowledge, Ingrid and Chris didn't know each other, and got to get a cool photograph that I'm super, super blessed to have in my possession now. Anyone out there watching today going to be at the event in Fallbrook I'll be teaching at for the guild there, or possibly middle of March when I'm up in
I believe it's the Willamette Valley, Oregon. Taking this one, and it's going to stay natural because it's an odd number. Building from the bottom up today. Same techniques, really, just offering them differently instructed each week as I go. But they really do work the best for this particular project, for this particular design. Not in the block, but this kind of sewing, random scrap, kind of out of control design-wise per block, but in complete control because of the fabrics we've chosen. That's what we learned in series 1. Not every fabric or every scrap is intended for the same scrap quilt. So my fabrics, I've tried to stay the same, but by integrating some of these low volume neutrals, I will say that my blocks don't feel like they have quite the same story. A little bit more busy, if you will, as I'm looking at the walls behind me, the design wall on the side. I think reads more textured and more busy, which is partly what I'm going for. I do really want to try these where I do a same color background for all of the blocks. And I'm half tempted right now to start back on the 18 we've done and integrate like black as the background, which would technically be the light in the pattern. But it doesn't matter as long as there's contrast. We started talking about that last week. As long as there's contrast between the 3 tones you see, like today, it doesn't really matter. You'll still be able to see the elements of the design of each block. And because the blocks are going to form all kinds of unique secondary elements of design based on color and texture, based on fabric, based on what ends up happening as we continue to sew along for 35 weeks. We don't really know at this moment. So that's the fun part is you can't overthink it, right? You just want to grab and go and keep your sewing so that you get the benefits, the health benefits of sewing constantly. I'm no doctor, but I will tell you, I certainly believe in using my hands helps settle me and my busyness. You probably even noticed my energy has changed from the beginning of the video till now, as I'm settled into the design, the color, the conversation, more focused, working around hot, dangerous, sharp, all of these different things that I think are really great. So that's the other reason I really love being out in the quilting community in person. And again, if you have a guild that would like to have me visit or a quilt store, I'm happy to do that as well. rob@robappell.com. I'll send you over to Sherry, who handles all that for me. And it's just so cool because we can integrate what's going on in our lives, I believe, into what's going on in our quilting, right? If we're true artists, and I believe we all truly are artists because we're all expressing ourselves in what we're doing with our color, with our sewing, with our fabrics. That expression is so healthy. We shouldn't be trying to keep too much inside. Like I said, I'm struggling at the moment to work on my 14-year recovery video because I have personally had a couple of real heavy challenges this year that I don't feel comfortable to discuss on video. I'm not able to discuss on video, and man, it's becoming a challenge. So the sewing and the quilting, the color, the design has been really powerful for me. Working with my hands these last few months has been really, really beneficial. I forgot where I'm at, but as I count up, I'm on an odd number, which means I must have been going natural. So they're going to go this way again, and I can look and see as I confirm those seams. I did it correct. This is good news. Very, very good news. And okay, so then our last row here, and then we're just going to join these together, see how it turned out. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, let's double check our orientation, make sure we have everything proper. Now I'm going to fold row, technically 5 on 6 or 2 on 1, and using that same 1/4 inch seam guide, making sure that now those little seam nestings lock in. Technically speaking, I could just start adding on rows, but I really do prefer to iron between each row here as I go. There's those 4 half square triangles that are the cornerstones. So that's how I found that orientation really quick. Rotate this back around. Lock those seams and go. So as we are finishing out our blocks together, I would encourage you all to please keep posting your photos. I'll start up the show and tell again real soon here on the Facebook group, So Well Rob Appell. And just to let you know, and thank you so much to Stitch in Heaven, they have granted me the ownership of that Facebook group. And therefore, I would like to keep that alive. That will be our community, really, to support this channel. Of course, I have a Rob Appell Quilts, or I think it's Rob Appell Designs Facebook page. I have Instagram and those things. I do a lot of tattoo postings on my personal stuff as well. If you're not into that, you may want to just look for the Rob Appell quilting stuff. But yes, So Well Rob Appell on Facebook is only about this community, the Scrap Masters, quilting primarily here on YouTube. So I would love to have all of you make sure that you are subscribed there, as well as you are subscribed right here to So Well with Rob Appell on YouTube. Email is rob@robappell.com. Let me know what I can do for you in our upcoming educational series. Of course, I would love to continue to support all of you. Let me know if I will see you in Fallbrook, California, or up in the Willamette Valley of Oregon in March. It would be so wonderful to be able to share my tattooing skills with you and your design hopes. So let me know. Folks, thanks again for being here. Happy Friday. Have a blessed weekend. And until I see you all again, please stay well.